Hello everyone, welcome to HW News. Today we are going to discuss about the letter that has been shot off by West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to 10 opposition leaders. Now, with just few hours to go for the second phase of polling in West Bengal and Assam, Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee wrote to 10 key opposition leaders, including Congress's Sonia Gandhi today, and she suggested a big get-together for a strategy to take on the BJP after the current round of assembly polls. The strongly worded 7-point letter sent on the eve of her big battle with bitter rival Suvendu Adhikari in Nandigram said the time has come for the united and effective struggle against the BJP's attacks on democracy and the constitution and presenting a credible alternative to the people of India. Now, starting with the controversial new law that gives more powers to Delhi's Lieutenant Governor, the centre's representative compared to the city's elected government, Mamata Banerjee presented 7 instances of what she called the BJP's assaults on democracy and cooperative federalism. Now, besides Sonia Gandhi, the letter was also sent to Nationalist Congress Party Chief Sharad Pawar, who is currently admitted in the hospital, DMK's Stalin, Shiv Sena Chief Uddhav Thackeray, YSR Congress Chief Jagan Mohan Reddy, BJD Chief Navin Patnaik, Telangana Rashtra Samiti Chief K. Chandrasekhar Rao, Samajwadi Party's Akhilesh Yadav, Rashtriya Janata Dal's Tejasvi Yadav, Aam Aadmi Party Chief Arvind Kejriwal, and CPI ML's Dipankar Bhattacharya. Now, definitely the letter comes a day prior to the big battle in Nandigram against her bitter rival Suvendu Adhikari, who was once her close confidant. Thus, the letter has attracted a lot of eyeballs to it because there was also an effort by the opposition leaders to come together after Congress won the Karnataka Assembly elections in 2018, and we saw a big show of solidarity, of unity by the JDS and several opposition parties including BSP, and Mamata Banerjee was also present at the swearing-in ceremony of JDS chief at that point of time, who took over as Karnataka Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy. But after that, nothing worked out, and in 2019, we saw the opposition was sort of divided between them. So whether this letter by Mamata Banerjee will be the start of a new coalition between all the opposition parties against the BJP, that is what we have to see. But before that, let me read out to you what exactly she wrote in the letter to 10 key opposition leaders. Now, first of all, she says to all these opposition leaders that you will agree that the passage of the National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill by the 2 houses of the Parliament is an extremely grave development. With this law, the BJP government at the centre has snatched away practically all the powers in the democratically elected government of Delhi and vested them in the hands of Lieutenant Governor, a nominee of the centre. The Lieutenant Governor has been made the undeclared Viceroy of Delhi, acting as a proxy for the Home Minister and the Prime Minister. She further writes that the entire world knows that the Aam Aadmi Party under the leadership of Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal resoundingly defeated the BJP in the assembly elections in Delhi, not once but twice consecutively in 2014 and also in 2019. However, unwilling to accept the people's mandate, the BJP has chosen to govern Delhi by making the Chief Minister subservient to the Lieutenant Governor. The National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Act is a direct attack on the federal structure of the Indian Republic as enshrined in the Constitution. It also makes a mockery of the letter and the spirit of democracy since it disempowers the people of the national capital. Furthermore, it violates the unambiguous verdict by a 5-judge Supreme Court bench in 2018, which upheld the preeminence of Delhi's elected government in all the matters other than police, public order and land. She further said that the BJP, what it has done in Delhi is not an exception, but it is increasingly becoming a rule and it will somehow be translated in all other states as well. So she also pointed out some of the instances. Let us talk about that. In the first point, she talks about that in state after state governed by the non-BJP parties, the centre has been creating problems for the duly elected government by misusing the office of the governor. In many states, including in West Bengal, governors have been functioning like BJP's office bearers and not as neutral constitutional authorities. Secondly, she points out that the BJP government at the centre has been brazenly and vindictively misusing the CBI, the ED and other institutions against leaders and functionaries of the non-BJP parties for its own partisan political ends. Both in West Bengal and in Tamil Nadu, where assembly elections are now underway, the Modi government has unleashed the ED to conduct raids on functionaries of All India Trinamool Congress and the DMK. Predictably, these institutions target only non-BJP leaders and never those belonging to the BJP. The third point, the Modi government is deliberately withholding transfer of funds to the state governments, especially those ruled by non-BJP parties, so that we face problems in implementing our development and welfare schemes to benefit common people. Fourth point, by disbanding the National Development Council, Interstate Council and the Planning Commission, which has been replaced by a toothless think tank called Niti Aayog, the Modi government has deactivated every single platform where state governments used to traditionally place their legitimate demands, needs, concerns and the views before the central government. The BJP has amassed unlimited resources from questionable sources, which it is using to topple the duly elected non-BJP governments and to engineer defections in non-BJP parties. The sixth point, the Modi government's policy of reckless and wholesale privatization of the nation's assets is also an attack on democracy because these assets belong to the people of India. In the seventh and the last point, she says, overall, the center-state relations and also relations between the ruling party at the center and opposition parties have never been as bad in the history of independent India as they are now, and the blame of this rests squarely on the Prime Minister's authoritarian conduct. She further says that there is a clear pattern and the purpose behind all these developments. The BJP wants to make it impossible for the non-BJP parties to exercise their constitutional rights and freedoms. It wants to dilute the powers of the state governments and downgrade them to mere municipalities. In short, it wants to establish a one-party authoritarian rule in India. Therefore, she says further that she strongly believes the time has come for the united and effective struggle against the BJP's attack on democracy and the constitution. So this is what she has written in the letter to all the opposition leaders. She has called for a united effort against the BJP. Interestingly, this letter comes on the eve of the second phase of polling in West Bengal. Now, the BJP says that Mamata Banerjee is scared of losing, and that is why these are the tactics which are being deployed by the TMC and the West Bengal Chief Minister. But whether this call for unity will actually give out a message to the opposition leader, and will the opposition come around and come together before 2024 Lok Sabha election is what we have to see. Well, do let us know what you think in the comment box below. For more news and updates, you can log on to www.hwnews.in.